Hello everyone, my name is Reed Newbert, and I recently started using the Davinci Resolve's free version. And I've made a couple of videos doing that and had a good experience so far. But I have an old computer, and I was noticing that as I go to watch videos on the timeline in the edit mode, just on the preview, that they stutter and they skip, they get backed up. Sounds like my computer's working really hard, which it is. The thought occurred to me that I didn't know whether or not Davinci Resolve was actually utilizing my graphics card for processing. And so I did a little research on that, found that there are a bunch of settings that you have to set up properly in the Nvidia software in order for it to recognize that you want Davinci Resolve to use the GPU. So I went through and set all those to where I believe they're correct now. And you also, in Davinci Resolve, have to tell Davinci Resolve that you want it to use your GPU. So those two things need to handshake, and you need to have those variables and preferences set up properly. So once I had done that, then I took a look at a couple of things. When you go to Davinci Resolve's page, which I've got right here, it says Davinci Resolve Studio supports the studio version, not the free version, supports up to 120 FPS at a massive 32K resolution. I don't need either of those, as well as support for multiple GPUs. Well, I only have one GPU, so if it'll just use one, that's all I need. I don't need multiple. For real-time playback of professional 10-bit formats. Well, I need good real-time playback. That's what I'm hoping to achieve, but I wasn't getting it. But then it has this, and accelerated H.264 and H.265 hardware decoding and encoding. Well, that could be the critical thing here, and that's the reason I'm making this video, is because I want to test whether or not the free version of Davinci Resolve actually utilizes the GPU or not. It says here that you have to buy the studio version for accelerated H.264 and H.265 hardware decoding and encoding. So I would think that it's very possible that Davinci Resolve, the free version, is not going to utilize your GPU, no matter if you have a 4090 or a 1050 Ti like I have. So I'm going to test that right now using my 1050 Ti and using the free version. I'm going to see how the task manager reacts when I do that, and I'm going to see how it reacts when I use the studio version, doing three different things: just loading Davinci Resolve, watching a video on the timeline, and then encoding a video or exporting a video. So let's do those things. So right now in stasis, you can see here that my CPU is being utilized at about 14, 8, 9, 10%, 12%. It's a very low percentage that my CPU is being used. My memory, 8 gigs out of 24 gigs are being used. And then my GPU is sitting right here at about 16, 17% utilization, 16, 17. So if we don't see that increase while I'm watching a video on the timeline or encoding a video in Deliver, then you know it's not using the GPU. So right now I'm just going to launch Davinci Resolve, click on this button right here. That'll take a minute. So right now with Davinci Resolve open, a little bit more memory, still about 10, 11% on the CPU. Graphics card's not really being utilized. It's down to 9%, so which is where I normally see it, is around 9%. So we're at we got Davinci Resolve here. I'm going to open up this flight segment compilation. So we're going to go over here. I'm going to take this thing back to the beginning, and I'm just going to hit play. Here we go. Riding my mountain bike down the street. You can see it does not run very smooth. I can hear my CPU wind up to 100%. And so there we go. We're running that video. CPU's at 100%. Memory's at 12. So a little bit more memory, but not much. And the GPU utilization here is at 8%. So it's really not utilizing the GPU at all to run a video on the timeline. So still running this video. You can see it's pretty much stopped. There we go. And so now I'm going to go over here to Deliver. And I'm just going to put, come here, enter the name of the video. We're just going to put test. We're going to browse. I'm going to stick this thing on the desktop right there, and save. Then I'm going to add to the render queue, And I'm going to kill this one here. And I'm going to run this one right here, render all. And then while that is working, we're going to come over and see the impact of that. So we're sitting here, 40, 50, never utilizes it over 50%. CPU you can see is pegged at 100. So it would be nice if we could get some more relief for the CPU by having the GPU take some of those tasks. So okay, I'm going to let that run. I think that's kind of what we've got. Now with the free version, when we're encoding a video, we're pegged at 100% for the CPU. Memory, I'm surprised it's not using more memory. It tells me that more memory wouldn't help. And the GPU seems to be sitting right here between 40 and 50%. So we'll come back in a minute with the studio version installed. Hopefully that'll go smoothly, and we'll load this same video and see what happens. Okay, so I just finished installing the studio version of Davinci Resolve, and I have to admit I took a little peek and the results were much better. So let's jump right into it. I'm going to launch the studio version of Davinci Resolve. We're going to launch this same flight segment compilation. All this stuff it found where my library was and everything, it kept that information. I'm going to double click on this. We're going to launch this and boom. So what I was really impressed with when I watched a few minutes of this, just to sort of get a preview to see if it was worth making this video, I have seen no jitters in the preview of the timeline. It just smooth as butter, and I'm blown away with how much better that is. And I don't think that it tells you anywhere in the documentation necessarily or explicitly that this is going to be your experience. So I'm just having such a better experience on the timeline with Davinci Resolve Studio version than I was with the free version. You can see it's not jittering at all. Everything's very smooth. And then when we go over here, you can also see that my CPU is at 14%, 16%. It was pegged at 100% with the free version. So you can see here it's using about 10% more of the GPU than it was before. We're at 4.6. We were stuck at 3.8 gigs. So not even a huge difference here. It just has to be a more efficiently written program, the studio version, than the free version, because my experience here with the CPU at 25%, with memory, we're using 2 more gigs. We were at 9 or 10 before, so not much difference there. And the GPU is being utilized more. I'm not an expert on all this stuff, but I know what I'm experiencing right now. And what I'm experiencing is that this playback is 100 times better than it was with the free version. Okay, so now let's do just a quick delivery to click encode of a video. So we're going to render this video right here. We're going to hit render all and replace the existing file. And so that is going through there. Now we're going to go over here and take a look and see how that is affecting the CPU. Here is the cool part. The CPU is still not being overworked. So again, I have an old computer. This is a 4th gen Intel chip, and my CPU is handling this just fine. So you can see here now that the utilization of the GPU is hovering around 80, 85%. But what's really great is the CPU is just sitting at under 50% utilized, and the memory is sitting at under 50% utilized. So that's such a big improvement. I can't tell you, that is such a huge improvement. That to me says, if you are not sure whether or not you should buy the studio version, and if you're having any frustrations with playback on the timeline, then you should definitely get the studio version, because it just hands down a much better user experience than the free version. That's my main point, and that's where my opinion lands. So thank you very much for watching. You can catch a lot of my videos on Tandem Travels, which is a YouTube channel. My wife and I do a lot of cycling. And also you can check out a great mount that I have the DJI RC2 and RC Original controller. I have a bike mount for those that I sell under the Colmount brand, COLMOUNT. And so if you want to check those out at Amazon.com, then feel free. Otherwise, I hope this video was useful. Thank you very much.